You'd think border towns are just customs lines and duty-free shops. Maybe a long wait, a bored guard. That's it, right? Wrong. There's a town where the border splits a library in half. Another where you need a passport just to buy groceries in your own country. And one where the fence separates a murder capital from a safe American suburb. We're counting down 12 of the creepiest border towns in North America. Places where maps lie, crime doesn't care about lines, and locals will tell you, don't stop after dark. Number 12. Falfurrias, Texas. There's a town in Texas where they've recovered over 1,000 migrant remains since 2009. Not a war zone, not a disaster site, just a small town with a checkpoint that pushes people into the desert. Falfurrias sits 70 miles north of the border in Brooks County. Population under 5,000. Unemployment around 5 to 6%. Homes sell for less than $150,000. On paper, it's quiet. In reality, it's a graveyard. The Border Patrol checkpoint here forces migrants off the roads and into ranch land. Miles of scrub brush, rattlesnakes, and heat that kills in hours. Locals find bodies on their property. Forensic teams' ID remains years later. Families never get answers. One resident on Reddit basically said, "You stop hearing helicopters and assume it's a recovery, not a rescue." Local reports consistently mention the county morgue is overwhelmed. Brooks County has one of the highest death rates for border crossers in the entire U.S. It's not haunted by ghosts, it's haunted by policy. And if cheap rent sounds appealing, wait until you hear about the town where the sun is optional, and the locals definitely aren't. Number 11. Forks, Washington. Welcome to the rainiest town in the continental U.S., where the sun is a rumor and the locals don't trust outsiders. Forks, Washington. Population around 3,800. Unemployment 7 to 8%. Homes cost $260,000 to $300,000. Crime rate 2,054 per 100,000. Higher than you'd expect for a logging town in the middle of nowhere. Forks gets over 120 inches of rain a year. Moss grows on everything. The air smells like wet wood and regret. It's isolated, insular. Everyone knows you're not from here the second you park. Yes, Twilight made it famous. Tourists showed up for vampires. The town didn't ask for that. Locals joke about it with an edge, like your cousin bringing up your embarrassing phase. Forever. Travelers say the vibe feels off. Too quiet, too watching. Your Uber driver is also your mailman and your landlord's ex. Local outlets point out that domestic incidents spike in winter when the rain doesn't stop for weeks. Seasonal depression isn't seasonal here. It's a personality trait. And speaking of borders that mess with your head, the next town? Well, you'll see. Number 10. Matamoros, Tamaulipas, Brownsville, Texas. There's a bridge in Texas where one side is safe and the other side is a kidnapping hotspot. Matamoros, Mexico sits directly across from Brownsville, Texas. Same river, different worlds. Brownsville's unemployment hovers around 5 to 6%. Homes in the mid-$200,000 range. Low homicide rate. Cross the bridge into Matamoros and the numbers flip. High kidnapping rates. Cartel extortion. In 2023, 4 Americans were abducted in broad daylight. 2 didn't make it back. Locals on the Brownsville side don't cross anymore. Not for shopping, not for dental work, not even for those $3 margaritas. Matamoros used to be a party destination. Now it's checkpoints and did you update your will energy? The US State Department keeps it on the do not travel list. One Reddit user joked, "Brownsville rent is expensive, but at least your landlord won't kidnap you." That's the bar now. The border here isn't a line. It's a life or death quiz. And the next town? Same border, more tunnels. Number 9. Nogales, Arizona, Sonora. There's a city split in half by a 30-foot steel wall. Same name, same streets, completely different survival odds. Nogales, Arizona and Nogales, Sonora share more than a border. They share history, families, and a massive network of smuggling tunnels. Unemployment on the US side sits around 4 to 5%. Homes in the low $200,000 range. Total crime rate? 4,149 per 100,000. That's a 1 in 24 chance of being a victim. Not great. Cross into Nogales, Sonora, and it gets messier. Cartel presence, deportation processing, tunnels everywhere. Some are sophisticated with lighting and rails. Others are dirt holes you'd need a tetanus shot just to look at. Local reports mention Border Patrol finds new tunnels monthly. Residents say you can get deported in the morning and smuggled back by dinner. The fence runs through the middle of town like a scar. You can wave to someone on the other side. You just can't help them. And if underground tunnels creep you out, the next town trades them for tourist traps and cartel executions on the same block. Number 8. Tijuana, Baja California. Tijuana is the most visited border city in the world. It's also one of the deadliest. In 2024, Tijuana logged 1,594 homicides. That's a rate of 138 per 100,000. Tourists flood in for tacos, tequila, and dental work. Cartels operate in broad daylight, sometimes in the same neighborhood. You can get a root canal for $80 and witness a cartel execution before your Uber arrives. Efficiency, dark efficiency. You can see San Diego from certain streets. Clean, quiet, safe. Then you turn around and there's a shrine to a cartel member next to a street vendor selling elote. Visitors report feeling whiplash. Local outlets say most victims are tied to organized crime, but stray bullets don't check IDs. And if Tijuana feels overwhelming, wait, the next city used to be the most dangerous place on earth. Number 7. Ciudad Juárez. There's a city in Mexico that sits directly across from one of the safest cities in America. El Paso, Texas has one of the lowest crime rates in the US. Walk across the bridge into Ciudad Juárez and you enter another reality. In 2025, Juárez recorded around 927 homicides. From 2008 to 2012, this was the murder capital of the world. Bodies hung from bridges. Entire families vanished. It's calmer now. Calmer is relative. Locals say don't cross unless you have to. One Reddit user joked, "El Paso is so safe you forget your neighbor city is on a warning list." Local reports mention femicides remain a serious issue. It's a place where women just disappear. The violence is quieter now, but it never left. And if that unsettles you, the next town is the gateway to something called Devil's Highway. Number 6. Sonoita, Sonora. There's a desert crossing where hundreds have died trying to reach the other side. Sonoita is the gateway to El Camino del Diablo, the Devil's Highway. Temperatures hit 120 degrees in summer. No shade, no water, no second chances. Migrants choose it because it's remote, fewer agents, better odds. Except the desert is the border. Rescue teams report finding remains with empty water bottles just feet from help. Locals don't talk about it loudly, but they feel it. Every helicopter, every search party. The desert keeps secrets poorly. And if a deadly desert feels eerie, the northern border gets weird too. Number 5. Houlton, Maine. There's a quiet town in Maine where Border Patrol arrests hit record highs. Houlton sits on the US-Canada line. Population around 6,000. Homes sell for $150,000 to $170,000. On paper, it's peaceful. But recently, people started crossing through the woods at night. The terrain is dense, easy to disappear into, hard to patrol. Locals say the vibe changed, not hostile, uneasy. You don't know who's passing through anymore. The fog feels heavier now, like it's hiding more than weather. And if small-town surveillance feels tense, wait until you see the crossing that made international news. Number 4. Sweetgrass, Montana and Coutts, Alberta. There's a border crossing in Montana so remote, you can see the customs building from miles away. Nothing else, just prairie, wind, and the memory of an extremist blockade. Sweetgrass, Montana and Coutts, Alberta sit at one of the least traveled crossings between the US and Canada. Combined population, around 3,800. Unemployment, 2.7%. Homes average around $250,000. Crime is low because there's barely anyone here to commit it. In 2022, truckers and protesters blocked the Coutts crossing for weeks. Anti-mandate demonstrations, arrests, weapons seized. The standoff made international news. For a border town used to waving trucks through, it was surreal. The customs facilities are massive, modern, built for traffic that never comes. It's like someone designed an airport for a town with one gas station. Locals say the protest left scars, divisions, suspicion. People who used to chat at the grocery store now avoid eye contact. One resident described it as the place where neighbors became strangers overnight. The wind out here doesn't stop. It howls across flat land like it's trying to warn you. And if political baggage in the middle of nowhere sounds uncomfortable, the next town literally splits streets and buildings in half. Number 3. Derby Line, Vermont, Stansted, Quebec. There's a library where you can walk in through the United States and walk out in Canada? No passport, no checkpoint, just a black line taped across the floor. Derbyline, Vermont and Stansted, Quebec used to be one town. Now, it's two countries pretending to share space. Population around 700 combined. Unemployment, 3 to 4%. Homes range from $180,000 to $250,000. Crime is low. The Haskell-free library sits directly on the border. The entrance is in the US. The books are in Canada. There's tape on the floor marking the line. You're not supposed to cross it without reporting to customs. But it's a library with tape. After 9/11, this quirky setup turned into a quiet surveillance zone. Cameras everywhere, agents watching. Streets that once connected now end in barriers. Families that lived on both sides can't casually visit anymore. One local said it feels like living in a divorced neighborhood. Polite smiles, permanent distance, and the constant awareness that Big Brother learned French. And if that feels surreal, the next town is American land you can only reach by leaving America. Number 2. Point Roberts, Washington. There's a piece of the United States you can't reach without leaving the United States. Point Roberts, Washington sits below the 49th parallel. Population, 1,200. Unemployment, around 5%. Homes in the mid-$400,000 range. Crime, 67% below the national average. Sounds peaceful, until you try to leave. To reach Point Roberts from the rest of the US, you have to drive through Canada. Twice. Once to enter Canada, once to re-enter the US. No bridge, no tunnel. Just a diplomatic shrug frozen in map form since 1846. During COVID, the border closed. Residents couldn't leave for groceries, gas, or medical care without paperwork. The town became an experiment in isolation. Some people left and never came back. The ones who stayed? They're either deeply committed or deeply suspicious of government logic. One resident called it America's accidental island with taxes. Beautiful water, silent streets, and the feeling you're living somewhere the map forgot on purpose. And finally, the town that proves even natural wonders can't save bad decisions. Number 1. Niagara Falls, New York. There's one of the most famous natural wonders on Earth. Millions visit every year, but only one side is thriving, and it's not the American side. Niagara Falls, New York. Population 48,000. Unemployment just over 5%. Homes sell for $135,000 to $170,000. Violent crime rate? Over 1,000 per 100,000. That's double the national average. Stand on the Canadian side and it's lights, hotels, restaurants, crowds. Clean, busy, alive. Cross the Rainbow Bridge into the US and the energy collapses. Boarded up motels, cracked sidewalks, empty lots. The falls are still there. The tourists aren't. Casinos didn't save it. Revitalization barely touched it. Locals say don't walk around after dark. Not because of the falls, because of everything else. Travelers report feeling unsafe within blocks of the main attractions. It's one of the rare places where nature is breathtaking and humanity failed the assignment. You came for waterfalls. You're leaving with questions. And the answer is no. Beauty alone can't save a place. So there you have it. 12 border towns where the map gets weird and the stories get darker. From mass graves in Texas to a library split by tape. From cartel violence steps from San Diego to a US town you need a passport just to escape. These places don't show up in travel guides. They show up in warnings. Could you live in any of these towns? Would you even stop for gas? If you enjoy uncovering the real stories hidden across America's backroads and borders, subscribe to Backroads and Borderlines for more journeys like this.